The technologically advanced gods of antiquity, we find them everywhere. Ancient Greece, ancient Asia, Sumeria, Egypt. Just how did primitive minds react to manifestation of superior technology? Is it possible that in the ancient past, our ancestors interpreted manifestations of advanced technology as divine? Primitive Aborigines in the past believed that American soldiers were deities when they visited them with huge metal birds, quote unquote, bringing unimaginable gifts. Is it possible that the same happened in the distant past, thousands of years ago, as ancient man interpreted beings from the cosmos as gods, quote unquote, who came from the stars? Is it possible to establish behavioral patterns that allow us, by analogy, reach conclusions with an acceptable probability index? Or in other words, how do you judge the reactions of our ancestors against the unusual behavior of potential exotic visitors? Are fear and curiosity a pattern that leads towards worship? Are these the logical consequences of a primitive mentality overwhelmed by the technological achievements of a superior civilization that visited the planet in the distant past? Many researchers believe that this is the exact scenario that occurred in the distant past on our planet when our ancestors from all over the world witnessed the arrival of beings with superior technology who eventually were called gods, beings that came from the stars. And one of these cultures were, of course, the ancient Greeks. They believed that the gods of Mount Olympus were all extraterrestrials coming from the skies and Atlanteans. Now, this is what the ancient astronaut theory postulates, and it's something that thousands of people around the world are convinced that happened when, in the distant past, extraterrestrial, ancient alien visitors came to Earth emerging as deities and gods due to the unimaginable notion or understanding of our ancestors. And if you see the video just before this one, the ancient elders of the Native Americans, even one that was around with Buffalo Bill going around, said that he had an ET encounter and that they were humans. They were humanoid. Now going back to this, consequently, this is, so to speak, psychological effect created myths and legends and even religions which became poetical reports that contain fascinating realities. These realities have been ignored almost completely by mainstream sciences. Although such evidence of extraterrestrial visitation may be far from conclusive, the merely circumstantial, the presumption is sufficient to clarify an obligation to take it into consideration. How about this beautiful image? This is a copy of a cargo ship that was made by Aborigines, and you can see it's made of straw and wood, and it looks like a plane, obviously. They copied it because they figured that the people that visited them are so godlike. So to worship their new gods, quote unquote, the Aboriginal natives made a wooden replica of the giant bird that roared like thunder, quote unquote, that brought the gods from heaven. And this happened when American soldiers visited natives in the past. Now, the question that still needs answering is, who were these strange beings that arrived from the sky riding huge thundering birds? Our ancestors were not able to answer it, so logically they referred to these beings as gods, as they had advanced technology that could not be explained by the mind of ancient mankind. Now we know that the ancient Egyptian priest that was talking to the ancient Greek, telling him that the Atlanteans had very advanced technology, and that there was a very big war, and there was the sinking of Atlantis. And obviously we had reports in ancient Greek texts concerning that. Now, our ancestors here says were not able to answer this, so logically they referred to these beings as gods, as they had advanced technology that could not be explained by the mind of ancient mankind. And what better way is there to interpret the behavior of primitive mentality than to properly avail ourselves to concrete examples and verifiable through history? It would seem very logical that ancient man reacted with this type of behavior. Ancient man had to provide some sort of explanation to what they were actually seeing, when the threshold of their understanding was sharply surpassed. They were amazed by these beings who eventually were called gods and deities, who they called gods and deities, who came from the heavens, the skies that is, in fiery dragons, in flying snakes, and flying shields. So these fiery dragons, fiery snakes, and flying shields as the Native Americans called them, were possibly just advanced vehicles from beings that originated elsewhere in the universe, beings that have visited our planet for thousands of years and continue to do so today. This was by Ancient Code, and it's on Humans Be Free by Alexander Light. Please leave your comments, and thank you for your support. Kindly support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.